You know, you write very openly about your marriage to very famous novelist Salman Rushdie. You were married to him for 3 years, together for 8, and it wasn't all roses by any means, but you say you don't regret it. When you look back,
regret it. You know, a lot of that time was very happy and joyous and blissful. It was obviously a very important relationship, but, you know, it was mostly half my adult life. But, you know, our marriage ended, and that was very painful for me. And I needed to talk about it in a frank way because my life's mission is actually to raise awareness about endometriosis, which is something I suffered from and 200 million other women around the world suffer from.
And it's very serious. It's when the lining of the uterus extends beyond the uterus, and it can affect organs, and I mean, it's potentially very life-threatening.
It is so debilitating, and you know.
What did that have to do with your marriage?
Well, you know, it affects your intimacy and your hormones, and every fiber of your body is not wanting to be touched and is not wanting to be close to anyone. And as painful as it is physically, and it is very painful, you get cramps, you get headaches, you get lower back pain, you get digestive problems. I had numbness in my pelvis, and it develops part and parcel with your womanhood as you are a teenage girl. And adolescence is such a tender and vulnerable time that it's hard for a disease like this not to warp your own relationship to your body and indeed your self-image.
And I'm sure there was a time in your life you never felt that you would, because infertility is very common with endometriosis, that you never would have a child. So in a sense, that is almost a miracle, too.
She is a miracle. It's funny, I was, you know, after I was diagnosed and a couple years after my marriage ended, I went to a fertility clinic and I froze my eggs. And after doing a battery of very expensive tests, by the way, that insurance doesn't cover, I was told that I would never have children, at least not the old-fashioned way. I was just so upset and I was mad because there is treatment for endometriosis, and I went 23 years without a diagnosis, in spite of having good insurance, in spite of having access to really good medical care. And I just didn't want that to happen to anyone else. So in April of 2009, with my surgeon, we co-founded the Endometriosis Foundation of America. In fact, I was just in D.C. lobbying Congress last week, and I'm very happy to say they were all very receptive. And thank you.
You're very upfront in the book also about the paternity of your child. There was a time where you weren't quite sure, and you made a decision which speaks to the kind of person you are. When you had the test, you were going to tell the man, and that was not easy. It might have been easier to keep it a secret, but you said that would not be right.
Well, you know, I think because I grew up without a father, and I think it had a lot, I never knew my real father, and I think it had a lot to do with why I felt so much insecurity in my life. Not only the sexual abuse, not only being a brown girl in a white culture, but because I never knew half my family. And I didn't want my daughter to feel that way. Regardless of how she came into the world, I wanted her to know that she was loved by everyone, because that certainly is the case.